Dearest listeners,
Book babes and book bros.
welcome to Book Babble. I'm Rachel,
And I'm Tanya, and we're the Witlet Women, your hosts for today.
and today we have a very special guest star. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I am BK Cavaleri. I am an indie author of dark fantasy romance. Um, yeah.
Dark fantasy is one of our favorite genres, so we're so excited to have you on and talk about that today. Are you ready to babble?
I'm ready.
All right, I will put 5 minutes on the clock, and there we go.
Okay. So my first question is always, what inspired you to write your stories?
Um, so it's dual-sided. So the first aspect is that I've always been a reader ever since I was a little girl. So I'm sure you guys hear that a lot with from authors. But I got to a point like around like third or fourth grade where I just wanted to write my own stories and almost like fan fiction spin-offs of things that I was enjoying while reading. And I was a huge poetry lover. So actually my first published works was in middle school publishing poetry. So that was a lot of fun. And so I've always done this as like sort of a hobby, an outlet, that kind of thing. And I really, really wanted to pursue a career in it, but everybody told me like, oh, you're not going to make any money doing that, so you need to choose something different. And so I was like, okay, no, that's fine. I'll just keep it as my hobby. Um, but as life continues on, I got married, I became a mother, I didn't have as much time to write, and I'm like, what am I doing? This was something that I was passionate about all along, and I kind of had this like pivotal turning point where I was like, I don't want to look back and think, oh man, I should have did that. So that's really where it kind of started making it into more of like I want to be an author. Like, I want to make this like a professional type thing. But really, really what kicked it off was I was going through a very hard time in my life. I suffered from pregnancy losses, was diagnosed with secondary infertility. And so I picked up writing as kind of like this way of an outlet for grief. And I wrote this whole story. And then I gave it to my friend to read, and she's like, you can't just sit on this. Like you have to do something with this story now. Like this is something that you need to share. And so that's really, really like the spark that forced me into publishing. So yeah, that I mean, so a little bit of like just all that literary influence from when I was a kid, and then just life challenges that just writing became that spark and that focus that I needed to just center myself and find myself again.
So, you write very powerful stories, very emotional stories, with powerful characters. Is there one character that you relate to the most that you've written in all of your universes?
Yes, so Remnant Dark is the main female character in the series that I write. She believes herself to be a monster. She believes herself to be a failure. And when I wrote this story, that's exactly kind of how I felt as a woman. I felt that I was a failure, in my to my core. Like I couldn't do what other women should be able to do. And that was if I wanted a baby to have one, essentially. And so I loathed myself, and she loathes herself in the story because she is a morally great character. She ends up destroying her world. And that's where the story initially starts, is after this destruction. So it's really a redemption type thing. And her journey is kind of like my journey back into trying to redeem myself, but also love myself for who I was. And that's what she learns to do in the story too, with the help of her, main love interest. So,
Got chills from that.
yeah. Yeah.
I love that you've written in such a like a healing piece to the story, and I think that's beautiful. Is there anything in your story that, like, after publishing, that you wish would have taken a different turn?
No.
I love that.
That's
This
amazing. That's great. Yeah, I love
story.
hearing that actually.
Just a very succinct no.
No,
Best
when
answer.
it comes to the actual story itself, no. It like the initial story had been beaten to death so much. I did a year and a half of querying before I went the indie author route. And it went through several different reads of different people and editing. And so the story itself, no. Um, I wish I would have did the process of publishing a little bit different, but nothing to do with the story. I mean, yeah, this is my baby. I love it. I keep touching it when I'm talking to you guys. So
Look,
Oh,
you
God.
can pull it up on screen again. It's a little bit longer. Oh, I love that. It's so pretty.
yeah, I kind of went against the grain on the whole like black cover for dark fantasy romance. So there it
Yeah,
is.
I love that. Oh,
Thank you.
okay. We have like 5 seconds left in our AMA round, so you made it. Good job. Congratulations. So, this 5 minute portion is going to go on our social channels, and then we'll put the rest of it, the full interview, on YouTube and Spotify. But we're going to just keep chatting. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit to my original question where we had started talking about the most relatable character to you. You have drawn real life parallels, but you've made it fantasy from, from your real life, this grief thing that you've been going through, making her morally gray and a monster. Like, how did you how did you come up with that idea to change like your real life grief and your real life battle into something like the fantasy elements? Like, how did you decide what was going to represent what? Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I think some of it was like unconsciously, like subconsciously done, whatever the right word is. Um, but fantasy is interesting when you write it because you're not set to the like standard rules that we live in everyday society, right? And
Right.
so if I reflected back on how I wished, you know, people surrounding me would have acted and supported me, if I looked back on how I wish I would have, made a different decision instead of, going into this like dark depression or what have you. I could change that. So I can make it my own narrative. And I think that's really what it was. It was like a self-reflection. Like if I had to dream up my perfect world, like, what would my best friends be like? Well, they would be probably the most loyal. Like, I will do anything for you. I don't care what has happened, and I don't care what you have done. I am by your side all the time. And so, like, she has friendships like that in the book, right? So it really is drawn from like the things that I feel like I'm missing in my life, and then I spin it into that whole fantasy concept because I can control it.
That's incredible.
Does that
I
answer the
don't
question?
think it does, because I don't think we've ever gone down that route of like how do you make a real life situation into fantasy? Like how do you decide what concepts to bring in? And that was very eye-opening
Mhm.
because it doesn't have to be like, I don't know, something very specific. Like you said, it could be just this idea, this concept of things that you wish you had, and you portray that in your book. Like a really good friend group, a very supportive group of people. So yeah, that actually gave me quite a bit of insight. So thank you. Typically I
You're
like
very
to chat
welcome.
the entire time, so I will give Rachel the floor to see if
Yeah.
she has anything, before I just blabber.
Well, I do want to apologize. My 4-year-old is running in and out, so I keep turning my camera off. But um,
Oh,
he's very interested in what we're doing. So my next question is
it's,
really like, what is the best part of being an indie author?
oh yeah. I think like the best part is some of the connections that you can make with other people, really. Being an indie author is kind of a catch-22. I mean, you're a lot more exposed to your readers than a traditional author, traditionally published author. But in some ways, that's just like really fun because I'll have people that's reading my books and they message me and they're like, "Oh my God, like I love this person or I love this character. I can't believe they just said that." And so that's fun because like essentially like what I'll do is like I'll be like opening my book and I'm like, "Okay, let me read with you. I want to know where you're at. Like let's share this experience together." And
Uh,
that's the most amount of joy that I feel like that I get out of it. So that's my favorite thing. 100%. When people are worried about messaging authors, I'm like, please don't. Like, please message me. I want to know that you like my story 100%. I want to know that you're like obsessed with a certain character or you like this worldscape that I created. Like that is just so fun. So I always tell people, don't hesitate. Like DMs are open. Like I'm like encouraging you. Please message me. I want to know.
Yeah. I feel like that is something very unique about the indie author community. So with the larger traditionally published authors, like their DMs are very closely monitored by other people. So if you contact them, you're not likely to get in touch with them specifically. It's going to be their team. With indie authors who are not as like bogged down with the traditional stuff, they actually like you all are in there talking to your fans, talking to your readers. You're getting in front of them and building a community with them. And I think it's like to me that's more I don't know, more important than like a traditional thing. So I
Yeah,
love when people go the indie route because you do get that sense of community with them. So
100%.
absolutely right. Um, so we're getting right at time, and this is usually when we open the floor to the author to see if there's anything that you specifically wanted to talk about or announce or whatever. So the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for giving me the floor. I have some exciting things coming up, actually. So, I have three books published, but the fourth book I'm getting ready to release in October, October 28th. It's the third book in the series, but I have like the other fourth book is the novella. And so it's called Shadows of Journal and I'm so excited about it. But also what's fun about this is I'm doing a Kickstarter for the first time, and I'm like 100% terrified about doing this. But it'll be like a gold foil special edition with like the sprayed edges, and each chapter will have black pages, and then it'll have my watercolor art. It's like this like shadowy watercolor art to the headers, and so I'm so excited about introducing this to everybody, but I am so nervous. But the more people that know about it, the better. It linked in my profile, and you can go there and you can hit like a preview um, of it so that it'll notify you when the actual Kickstarter is launched.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing. And if you'd like, you can send me the link to that and we'll add it to the description of our episode summary. So, or I could probably just go to your profile and find it. But yeah,
Whatever works.
I'll include that Kickstarter link. And then so I'm not sure if you know, I co-own or co-founded Iris Influencer Society, and it's a book an indie author PR company. So if you need
Yeah.
help with like any marketing, just let me know. We'll help you out. We'll do a Kickstarter campaign with you, whatever you need. Happy to help.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, so we are right at time, and we had such a good time today chatting with you, babbling with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. You guys are great.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too.